Alright, so for the past couple days, when I got on Facebook, when I actually took the time to get on Facebook, first one of the few posts I've seen, um, gosh, I don't know, 4 or 5 days now, is this post about God getting the church ready for the rapture and this or that. So, I really want to make this video. I wanted to post something, but people's not going to read what I type. So I'll make this video. Maybe you'll pay me, it some attention. Well, before I go, I'll tell you. I know there'll be people that watch this video that don't know me. So I've been in and around church all my life. All my life. I'm not a full-time minister per se. I run a feed store and work at a mill, a manufacturing mill. So I did go to a Bible college. I do know how to study the Bible. I know how to break scriptures down, write papers, all of that. Kind of like not a seminary, but it was a Bible college. Well, I hold the position that the pre-rapture or pre-trib rapture is not biblical at all. And I know this one subject, I've been called a heretic, I've been called a false prophet, and it's a debatable subject. But just hear me out on this. I'll tell you how I began to, when I stopped believing in a pre-tribulation rapture. When I was in Bible college, one of my roommates, or housemates rather, he mentioned something about a post-trib rapture. And if you're not familiar with mainstream evangelicalism, a pre-tribulation rapture is predominantly taught in denominations. I have affiliations with Pentecostal Holiness, the Church of God, somewhat through the Bible college with the Assemblies of God. But within Pentecostal ranks for sure, and familiar with just mainstream evangelicalism doctrines. So, my roommate, he told me, he got talking about this, and I was offended. I was like, what? And so, what I did, I went to the library and I began to study to try to. I really wanted to show him up and prove him wrong. But throughout studying that, I totally demolished what I believed, or what the idea, or what is taught as a pre-tribulation rapture. And golly, this subject right here brings up so much just fury in people. There was this video that went viral a couple weeks ago by this guy named Pastor Dana Coverstone. You can look his video up on YouTube, and I watched it. Dude seems pretty genuine. Well, then when I pulled YouTube up a few days later, there's this guy on there. I don't even know his name. But he was like, his response, or giving his personal opinion on Dana Coverstone's dreams. Apparently they're friends. I don't know. Don't really care. That's irrelevant. Well, I listened to it, and he's talking about Dana Coverstone's dreams, and and he was like, the only way this could be possible is if Jesus has already returned. And that immediately I knew where he stood on the issue as far as his beliefs on that. And well, last night when I got off work, I pull up YouTube, and there it is, bam, the first one suggested is his second response to that video, where apparently he was confronted in the comments or something about the pre-trib, post-trib, mid-trib, whatever, rapture. And I'm not sure. I didn't look at the comments. I kind of listened to him a little bit, but man, he was fired up, and he was like, "You mean to tell me that the Billy Graham and the Church of God and the Baptist and all these egos on and on and on and on and on. He was like, you trying to tell me that they're all wrong about this? And quite simply, yeah. Not being arrogant, not being a butthole, whatever. I'm just saying, if you take out all this, if you take out the doctrines, these beliefs that have built doctrines that you can't back up with Scripture, you take that out of the equation, and I don't care what these, I know somebody's going to say, well, that's not what John Hagee says, or that's not what Perry Stone says, or that's not what all these supposed biblical end time theologians think. So it doesn't matter. I don't care what they think or what they say, just because they have a position on something. They push that. And that's one thing that's aggravated me about church in most of my life. Well, I'll say in the last 20 years, is because people sit and listen to preachers, and they take everything that preacher may say as the exact truth without even trying themselves to back it up. No matter if it's a twisting of scriptures or what it may be, false doctrines, whatever, they take it as, well, that preacher is right, he knows what he's saying, instead of getting in the Word and figuring it out and studying it for yourself. Because there are issues, we'll take like sanctification. There are different positions on that have driven divisions in the church. Or, Pentecostalism, speaking in tongues, that have, that's kind of driven, I would say, division somewhat, because there are doctrines where some agree, some don't. Well, the rapture is no different. Some agree, some don't. I begin to realize, as studying, into my late teens, early 20s, studying the Scripture, that there are different points of views on stuff. Now, that, we differ on, but I'm not going to put that brother out or disown that brother, or, say that it's a false doctrine, because it's not undermining the deity of Christ. It's not undermining the Trinity or any of that. But when we get into pre-tribulation rapture, you have to take in this idea of the church age and dispensationalism, that we are living in a certain dispensation. You show me that in Scripture. If you take the text for the text, leave out all the presuppositions, and study the text for the text, what do you get? Take out this idea of the church age. Well, people say, well, the church is not mentioned in Revelation after chapter 4. And is that a reason to build a doctrine or belief off of something? Take the words of Jesus from Matthew and Luke, especially the ones in Luke. I'll come back to that in a minute. I know I'm trying to watch my time here. I don't want to go too long. I can tend to be long-winded sometimes. But if you take Daniel, the book of Daniel, Matthew 24, Luke, I can't remember off the top of my head, 16 or 17, the book of Revelation, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, and you take out dispensationalism, and you take out the church age doctrine, what do you come up with? Study the Scriptures for yourself. Because we're being deluded and thinking that we're going to be just raptured on out of here, and that we're not going to face any kind of persecution, any kind of hardship, any kind of backlash. This Americanized pre-tribulation rapture is not. You know, it's like Jesus could come back, split the eastern cloud at any minute. That's not biblically correct. Study the scriptures for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Study it for yourself. Leave out the presuppositions. Study it for yourself. And it's, you know, it's. I'm wondering if I should go here or not. I'm making this video. What the heck? I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, I've listened to John Hagee. I grew up listening to John Hagee on TV. A lot of people on TBN. Even when when I was a teenager, I had to go to a Dwight Thompson crusade one time or camp meeting. Nothing against Dwight Thompson. He's a nice guy. I'm just saying that's how enrooted this Christianity is in my memory and in my life. So, I forgot where I was at. I got off on a rabbit trail. But it's like I've been in this stuff all my life. You take out all that stuff, you don't come up with a Jesus coming back before the rapture. But I'm gonna go there. People like John Hagee and Perry Stone. Nothing against them, as personal. But the ones that tout the loudest about the pre-tribulation rapture are also the ones who are the biggest Zionists. Now, I'm not an anti-Zionist. Well, I'm not an anti-Semitic by any means. I do not hate the Jewish people. But did you know that the DNA of the Palestinians match more to being Semitic in heritage than the current majority population of Israel that has a European heritage? That's interesting. I hold the idea that Israel is controlled by the Sabbatean Frankist crypto Jews who came from Europe, who trace back years and years and years to an ancient empire that converted to Judaism and never had a drop of Jewish blood in them. That those over the years held to the idea that they were Jews, even though they were never blood Jews. They became crypto Jews throughout the centuries. They were involved in mysticism and the occult, and they are the ones who Benjamin Netanyahu is a Sabbatean Frankist. He controls Israel now, and that the Palestinians are the true Jews. And that's why people turn a blind eye to how bad the Palestinians are being treated. And it's repulsive almost. It's like, how can we serve a God that is condoning? How are they God's people if they are persecuting the Palestinians to such an extent when their DNA is truer than the current DNA that's a majority of the state of Israel? That's a no-brainer. The Jews are still being persecuted because over centuries it is proven that those they converted to Islam, and the people that live in Gaza, all those Palestinians, their DNA is truer than the majority of Israel, but yet they're persecuted. The Jews are still being persecuted. I might get backlash for that. And say, oh, blah, you can't prove that, this, that. I mean, all we got to do is look at history. Why are certain Jews connected so deeply to the Russian mafia? Stuff like that. But study the scripture for yourself. Is a pre-tribulation rapture possible if you take out the presuppositions? And you will fall somewhere mid to post. I hold to the idea that the second coming and the rapture are one and the same. one event. You'll notice, and man, we can make a longer video, and study this out for yourself. Actually, I was getting a call, so I was trying to study this out for yourself. Why did Jesus mention Noah and Jonah in Luke when he's talking? In Luke when he's talking about end time or eschatology stuff. He mentions, I'm sorry. He mentions Noah and Lot, not Jonah. My phone was ringing. I was trying to see who it was and this or that. And so, if you take what he's talking about in the days of Noah, in the days of Lot with Sodom and Gomorrah, look at those and go into that, and the idea of the Nephilim connects to all of them. And so, I mean, there's definitely more to this eschatology than a pre-tribulation rapture. Do study for yourself. I'm not ashamed to stand behind it, and I'm wanting to warn people. Study the Bible for yourself. Take the text for the text, what the text says, and leave out all the other stuff. And see what you come up with.